I have a very important question to ask you. When you're talking to a hot girl, a girl you'd like as your girlfriend, or a girl you'd like to have sex with, what's that little voice in her head telling her about you? Is it telling her to do anything possible to sleep with you, or is it telling her that you'd make a nice friend? Well, there are six telltale clues that show a woman whether you're a nervous wussbag who might make a good friend or that you're fearless, the kind of guy she'd do anything to have for just one night. And it's important that you know what these six clues are. Because if you get one or two of them wrong, she'll instantly put you in the friend zone. And if you get three or more of them wrong, you'll destroy your chances with her. But if you get all six right, that little voice in her head will be screaming at her to go for you. And it'll be compelling her to have sex with you so she can claim you as her own. That's because no matter how young or old you are, no matter how handsome or unattractive you are, and whether you're rich or poor, a woman's mind is programmed to respond to these six things. They're the golden key to her female intuition. And having the power to control her intuition means very simply a girlfriend, a one-night stand, a fuck buddy, whatever you want really. Now I have to warn you, for reasons you'll soon understand, I'm only allowed to share this with 2,400 men total, and the countdown in that corner shows you how many remaining men I'm allowed to let in on this secret knowledge. So you'll want to pay close attention because this will be shutting down the moment that reaches zero. You see, if you're like most guys, then you do just fine when you're talking to sixes and sevens and women you don't care about. But when you're intimidated around the nines and the tens and the girl you really like, you get in your head and your heart starts thumping like a drum. You stumble over your words and you hold yourself back because you don't want to screw it up. And when you act that way, no matter how much game you learned, what you look like, or even how much money you have, that little voice in her head can sense it. She can sense your fear and nervousness like a shark smells blood in the water. And as soon as that little voice in her head senses your fear and nervousness, it tells her that you don't have what it takes. And then best case, you end up in the friend zone. Worst case, she looks at you like you just farted in her face and she gives you the cold shoulder. It makes sense, right? No woman is going to want to date or have sex with a guy who's afraid of her. The thing is, even women don't understand how their own brains work. So if you ask them what they think of a guy, what do they usually say? They'll say something like, he's so weird. Or, there's something about him. I can't put my finger on it, but I'm just so attracted to him. Or he gave me the creeps. Or there's just a certain way he looks at me. It makes me want him. Now, do these sound like logical thoughts? Of course not. That's because that's her intuition talking, that little voice in her head, and it's a very primitive part of her brain. And it's telling her one of three simple things about you. Get away from this guy, he's harmless and he might make a good friend, or you need to have this guy's babies. And I hate to tell you this, but no matter how much game you studied, you just can't fool her intuition. I mean, heck, maybe you gotten okay with women, maybe you've even dated some girls who you're not totally ashamed of, but, not the ones you really want. And maybe you've woken up next to some girls who made you wonder how many shots of tequila you had the night before. But in the moment when it counts, with the hot girl who you really want, the fear kicks in, you hold yourself back, and you don't get her. Because the most primitive part of your brain, the part that feels fear, is causing you to make one or more of the six mistakes. Now, it's not your fault, and you're no less of a man for it. This stuff is hardwired into you. But the guys who date whichever women they want are the ones who've defeated it. And other guys spend years studying game, and they still struggle. And if that's you, or even if you're new to men's dating advice, well, you now know why it's not working with the girls who you really want. She had you pegged before you approached her, and before you ran out of things to say, and long before you missed the chance to kiss her. Your instinctive fear gave you away, and that little voice in her head started ringing like a fire alarm. That's why around the girls you really want, it often feels like you're working for them. You get nervous, you get stuck, and you start thinking you need to say something more or something else. Your fear is kicking in. It's subconsciously telling you that you need to impress her, that you need to do the work to make her like you. But that's not how it works, man. And I have to confess something to you right now. It's embarrassing, but it's important. My name is Christian, and in 2005, I was the business manager for the biggest pickup artist training company in the world. ABC, NBC, Fox came to film us. We had a TV show in the UK, trained thousands of clients, and everyone thought I was amazing with women. And I had a girlfriend who I'd picked up using the same techniques that our pickup guru taught. And she was okay, but she wasn't a perfect 10, and deep down, I knew I wanted to do better. But even deeper down, I was afraid. Afraid that if we broke up, I couldn't do better. Because perfect tens scared the living shit out of me. And the few rare times during our pickup training courses when I would summon the courage to approach one, I would talk way too much. I thought I needed to do more to impress them, or I was looking for that edge that attracts them. But because I was still afraid and still making the six mistakes with them, I just get shut down. And even though my life seemed amazing to my friends, I was miserable. I felt like a fraud, and I sure wasn't happy with my girlfriend, but I was too afraid to leave her. And when she finally broke up with me, man, it damn near destroyed me. Because I knew I still didn't have what it takes to get the girls that I really wanted. And I spent 2 weeks on the couch. I was barely eating, shuddering in pain and fear of what lay ahead. And if only I'd known my future at that time and how easy it is to date the sort of girls I always wanted, maybe it wouldn't have been such a painful time. Maybe I wouldn't have moved in with a friend for 2 weeks because he was worried about me. Maybe I wouldn't have left that company in search of answers elsewhere, but, everything happens for a reason. And now that I've dated FHM cover models, Playboy cybergirls, and actresses you've seen in famous movies, I'm blown away at how easy it is and how silly I was to be afraid of them. And I wish I could claim credit for discovering the edge that compels them to want you, the same edge that works on any woman you want, but that credit goes to my good friend Nick Sparks. Nick is one of the top dating coaches in the world. He's been in CNN, Psychology Today, you name it, he's been on it. And for 4 years now, he and I have been coaching men to get over their fears and get the women they've always wanted. The clients who come to us are often just like I was. They studied a lot of game, but they're not getting the women they really want, and they're looking for that edge. But rather than teaching them more game, Nick began to give them less. When he's out at the bar leaning over a client's shoulder and whispering the one thing the client needs to get the girl, Nick can't be giving complicated instructions. So for 3 years, Nick's coaching got simpler and simpler. He focused on the fewest things possible that got clients the girls who they really wanted. And that's how he discovered to speak directly to that little voice inside of a woman's head. There's no lightning bolt strike, no divine inspiration. No, Nick just started watching for those make or break moments when a client had to show a girl he was fearless. If the client did what Nick said and showed he was fearless, the girl would open right up and start working for him. And if the client got it wrong and revealed his fear, the girl would shut down. We soon realized that this was the edge that every guy was looking for, fearlessness. It's not about doing more and trying to impress her because you're afraid or feel like you're bothering her. It's about doing less and getting her to impress you simply by getting 6 simple things right to show her you're fearless. It's that confident little voice in your head telling the curious little voice in her head, you're mine. That's the edge that makes girls want you, that compels them to sleep with you, and that gets them to obsess over you. So whether you've already tried studying most of the men's dating advice out there, or you tried doing stuff like buying nice watches or luxury cars or taking women on expensive dates, or you've just been frustrated that you don't understand women and you don't know what the hell it's going to take to finally get one who you want, well, if they're not banging down your door, blowing up your phone, and begging you to sleep with them, then it's no longer any secret why. Because around the women you really like, your fear is causing you to do stuff that turns them off. That's the harsh, no bullshit truth. I had to accept it. Our clients had to accept it. And if you can man up and accept that your fear is holding you back from dating and sleeping with the girls you really want, then you're about 100 times closer to getting those girls than you were just a few minutes ago. In fact, if you've been hoping that the stuff that everyone else teaches would get you the girl you really want, then you've been trying to solve the wrong problem. You're forcing yourself to struggle and suffer for no good reason. But here's what's very, very exciting. When you finally learn how to bypass her logical brain and you have the power to speak directly to that little voice in her head, nothing else really matters. And all the stuff that magazines and pickup artists and everyone else says to do, like, spending a lot of money on a nice date, memorizing complicated pickup techniques, or, being yourself, you're welcome to do it if you want, but that's not what actually makes girls want you. It's not the stuff that gets you laid whenever you want. And for most guys, they think the answer is somewhere else, learning something funny or interesting to say to impress the girl, or a secret trick to turn her on. And the more that they like a girl, the more their fear creeps in and the more unnatural they act. Let me give you an example. Pick a girl who you think is really, really hot. Could be someone you know, could be a Victoria's Secret model, someone you think is out of your league. You got her? This should be a girl who makes you kind of nervous. And don't be shy here, because the hotter she is to you, the more that this example is actually going to help you get her or someone like her in the future. So now you got her. I want you to imagine that you're at a party and you see her from across the room, but she doesn't see it yet. You see her there? Okay, now if you're a normal human being, your pulse begins to increase, you feel some butterflies in your stomach, and you begin to think the following thoughts. Oh my God, she's so hot. What should I say to her? Would I be bothering her? I really want to meet her. Only there was something certain to say that would make her like me. And in that moment, you already lost her, because you're in your head and you're making yourself more and more nervous, and you're going to act unnatural. And anything you've learned, any line routine, any inner game work you've done, it's all out the window at this point, man. Your fear, it's already taken over. And then she notices you, and she makes eye contact with you, and she's practically looking into you, and that little voice in her head is trying to figure you out. So she starts walking your way, and as she arrives, she's still looking right into you. She asks you where the bathroom is, and you respond to her. Now, when she walks away, does that little voice in her head say, do everything you can to get this guy into bed? Or is she disappointed by another guy who wilted under her gaze? Or even worse, did she think, what a weirdo? Now, let me clue you into something that totally changed my game with women and changes the lives of everyone who learns it. It's little moments like this that make it or break it. Look, a hot woman is not expecting you to impress her with the best game in the world. She's using her female intuition to figure you out. And this is why a guy who learns this stuff can attract women with nothing more than eye contact. This was a life-changing revelation for me. I used to have terrible social anxiety. I couldn't even make eye contact with most pretty girls. And then once I began to learn game, I'd blow it because I was still afraid and covering up that fear with the tricks I'd learned. And in moments like I just described, I totally failed the test. It wasn't until Nick unearthed these 6 mistakes and the things that naturals do instead that everything clicked for me. And what's even crazier is that every other guy we see who does well with women gets the same 6 things right. Sure, they all think it's a different reason they're doing well, but I can promise that if they're actually having a lot of sex, they are getting this stuff right. And the guys we see struggling for years, working with coach after coach, spending thousands of dollars and struggling with self-doubt and thinking there's something wrong with them, that couldn't be further from the truth. It's just that they're still making these mistakes no matter how much game they've learned. But once you learn this material, man, results are instant. Expecting to do well with women without this stuff, it's like trying to make soup without water or cream. You can get almost everything right, but it obviously won't be soup. You'll be frustrated and annoyed. It seems like you're really far away from getting the results you want, but 1 or 2 simple changes are all it's going to take to finally get what you've been looking for this whole time. And man, when everything comes together and you just get these 6 things right, women start treating you differently. Their female intuition tells them that you're an insider, the sort of guy who's fearless around women because you've been doing well with them your whole life. All of a sudden, you become the guy who they work for rather than working for them. You sit back, you chill out, and you let her do all the work to land this guy who her intuition is telling her to go for. And hint, that is you once you learn this stuff. And yes, this goes double for a really hot girl because it's so rare that she meets a guy who doesn't completely wilt under her gaze or act like a total idiot around her. So when that little voice in her head tells her to go after you, she works even harder than the average girl. For the 9s and the 10s, coming across a guy who gets all 6 things right is like a comic book collector finding the first issue of Spider-Man. They know it's out there, they've been desperately looking for it, so when they unexpectedly stumble upon it, they will do everything they can to get their fanatical hands on it and make it their own. That's been the exact experience of our high-priced coaching clients. For example, when he learned that we were about to start selling Fearless, one of our clients wrote this: "Sup, Nick? Congrats on kicking off Fearless. Best experience of my life by far. You've worked hard and deserve every ounce of praise and accolade for it." And Ethan, who's a computer programmer from Boston, he wrote this in a review of his coaching with us, and I've plucked this right from our forum. He said, "I took the Fearless boot camp with Nick in October of 2010. There's a point when telling the truth begins to sound like bragging, where I feel my roommate's envy as I return from walking another girl out to an awaiting cab. I have a to-do list on my phone to keep track of girls in rotation and a codified system in my contacts for filtering by level of intimacy. I vaguely remember what it felt like to struggle, to feel lost in a party, clutching a red Solo cup, wishing I could just go home. How long ago was that? It seems like a lifetime, but there's no point in indulging the past, and there's no point in denying the present. I've become a player, and an especially covert one at that. This, as they say, is only the beginning." And Nick and Ethan aren't alone. That was also the experience of the 20 guys who paid up to $7,400 to attend a private, closed-door seminar where Nick revealed the secrets of how to be fearless. And I want you to hear what some of these guys had to say, too.
This is a permanent solution.
6 simple actions that I feel like I can go home right now and put into action and start to get, the results that I've been looking for a long time.
The actual action steps regular guys can take, I think it's the best thing you could possibly do.
The stuff that naturals aren't scared of doing.
It's not a whole wealth of information that you kind of lose yourself in. It's very, very actionable.
One system that was really uncomplicated and like kind of everything you need to know.
Kind of like breaking down the matrix.
At the moment in.
You answered questions I didn't even know I had.
Like eye-opening, mind-blowing.
I thought it was fantastic. It's just what I needed.
Feeling less pressure. Ironically, that actually has me feeling more excited to approach people and more excited to engage conversations.
Much less pressure when you're approaching people or, like you said, dropping hooks.
I'll actually be able to go out and socialize and not be so dependent on everyone else's feedback around me that it dictates how my night is going to go.
There's no way you can follow this path and take the easy way out. Plus, there's no reason to.
This can, permeate throughout pretty much my whole life.
Stuff of this social, man, is, you know, it's different than a lot of stuff out there.
Seeing it as a gift, as I'm going out to have uplifting interactions.
Yeah, if there's a girl I like right now, I feel like, honestly, I could just go up to her and just genuinely, like, just be honest about it. Like, hey, you know, like who are you? And I think what you guys teach is, like, just amazing stuff.
I knew it was going to be amazing, and it just blew me away anyway.
And the good news is that the cameras were on that day, and now the secrets of Fearless are available for you to discover too, in high-def video that you can watch on our private, clients-only website, and crystal-clear MP3 audio you can download and listen to on the go. Fearless is the first system to decode female intuition, so you can slip inside her head and get her obsessing over you, even if you currently get shy and reserved around women you really like, hold back because you don't want to screw it up, feel pressure, or get overwhelmed around women, and especially if you tried other systems and been let down. You now know you're still making the 6 mistakes and still triggering her alarm bells. But once you become fearless, it's all going to come together for you instantly. You'll no longer feel fear in the moments that matter. You'll actually start enjoying the game. And that's going to be the very best thing about Fearless. I mean, look, you're going to get girls, numbers, kisses, sex. All that's a given. And it's easy to take for granted once you learn it. Because it's the way you'll be getting those girls that makes Fearless so special. Those moments when it really matters, where her female intuition is looking for that go or no-go signal, the moments when your fear is currently holding you back, those are the moments you're going to savor. For example, video 5, you learn how to handle awkward silences. See, hot women, they know how to test a guy with these, and if you're the sort who keeps running his mouth and talking too much, it shows them that you're afraid. But you also don't want to stand there without anything to say while the conversation falls apart, right? And once you see how easily a natural uses silence to his advantage, you'll look forward to it. You'll give her a little look, say 2 words Nick will teach you, and sit back and smile as you watch her brain go click. This is a guy who I want. Now, a lot of guys fail before they even start, and they want to know how to overcome their approach anxiety. So in video 1, you'll be given the simple secret to resetting when you feel overwhelmed in your head or just plain off. Nick has taken techniques right out of the U.S. Army's training system that are used to turn fear into a calm focus and allow soldiers to be at their best in intense combat situations. This is how we simply and easily trained ourselves and our clients to approach any woman anywhere we are without fear. But we've taken it one step further because there's nothing more frustrating than being on one night and being off another. Sometimes women light right up, other times they seem cold as ice. But now you can have total consistency and certainty that women will open right up to you when you talk to them. Because in video 2, Nick will reveal the zero pressure, zero rejection way to start conversations. If you've ever had a conversation start smoothly and flawlessly, it's exactly what you're doing. Now here's a hint. You were acting natural. You weren't shy and timid, but you also weren't overwhelming. A lot of guys who study pickup advice get this wrong and wonder why their results are so hit or miss. So if you've been approaching women the old way, well, stop. It's not natural. It doesn't feel right to her because you're obviously covering up your fear, and that little voice in her head rejects you in seconds flat. You can be having much more consistent sex and attracting the hottest women a lot more easily with what Nick will show you. And the best part is just how easy it's going to be for you. One of Nick's Facebook friends who's been following our advice for several years wrote this to him. Hey man, congrats on the Fearless program. I loved it, and after all this time in the game, I still relearned very key fundamentals and concepts. Great job, man. Now, a lot of guys want to know what to say and how to avoid running out of things to say. And here's a big secret. It's easy as long as that little voice in her head makes her work for you. Because then she's the one who makes sure that the conversation doesn't die or get boring. Her subconscious is giving her an order to make sure that you don't lose interest or get bored. And when you watch video 6 and learn this easy, natural way to get women talking, you'll feel less pressure and you'll enjoy the experience of having a hot woman want to tell you about herself and crave your approval. Now, there's a lot you can do to get her thinking about having sex with you. Hint 1. Leading male movie stars like Tom Cruise and Bruce Willis, they are masters of this. Hint 2. Has nothing to do with what you say to her. Hint 3. It's all about that little voice in her head sensing that you're fearless, confident, and cool. You figure it out yet? Well, it's all in the way that you look at her. It's not what you say, it's how you say it. Now, I became a master of this, and it's how I'm able to walk into bars in New York, make eye contact with the hot bartenders I'm ordering from her, and have her write her number on the check. And in video 3, you'll get crystal clear demonstrations of exactly how to do the same. This is truly ninja level stuff, and you can even use it before you've said hello. For example, someone who learned it sent this email to our customer service inbox. He wrote, "Hi, I love you guys. No single change in my life has ever had more of a dramatic, immediate impact than this. I used this on a stunning 20-something hottie walking into the venue. I was standing all alone in the space, surrounded by no one. As she passed behind me, she brushed her breasts up against my back as she went by. Wow, what fun. Okay, but what do you do once you've used this trick and she's brushing her breasts up against you? You turn up the heat. Now look, even if she's giving you more subtle signs, you and I both know that fear is the least sexy thing to women. And the mistake that keeps so many guys in the friend zone is they don't know how to turn her on. And even if they learn some lines, they're still acting nervous. She can feel that, and I'm sure it doesn't take much to convince you that fear and nervousness, they don't feel sexy to her at all. But in video 4, you'll get a demonstration of how to turn a girl on fearlessly without even using words. Most guys are way too nervous around the hottest women, but it's so easy. You just watch a demonstration, you do it yourself. And because it works without words, you'll never have the fear of screwing it up with her by saying the wrong thing or trying to get a kiss when she's not ready for it. She's hardwired to respond to it because it's how a fearless alpha male turns her on too. And like everything in Fearless, it will compel her brain to want to seduce you. As you can see, Fearless, it's like nothing else that anyone has ever discovered or told you about. And there's even more to it, 2 unbelievably cool bonuses I'll tell you about in a second. But I want you to realize something about Fearless. People are going to start treating you differently. If you've watched this far and there's a girl in your life who you really like, then you understand what you've been doing wrong and how Fearless is going to change that. The next few times you see her, you'll know exactly what to do to tap that little voice in her head, and she will helplessly begin to develop strong feelings for you. But it's not just going to be her who feels differently about you. As you already heard from the guys who sat in on the seminar, Fearless will affect how everyone in your life treats you. When you're in a group of people, whether it's all guys, guys and girls, or just girls, you'll have a new confidence and authority. You'll know how to command respect without working for it, and everyone will tune in to how good it feels to be around you. That's the experience of everyone who learns Fearless. For example, our client Will, he got a free flight upgrade after training with us and learning Fearless. And this comes right from our forum, Salty Language and All. He said, I got on the plane tired as fuck and not in the mood for conversation. And then something just clicked and I started applying the principles of what I was taught the entire weekend with people all around me. I was friendly, charismatic, and yet I knew when to shut the fuck up. And then they gave me a flight upgrade. Now, understand at this point, I was scruffy as fuck. I was wearing a tragically wrinkled shirt, trainers, and had a 3-day-old beard that desperately needed shaving. I was talking on autopilot, but remembering just enough of what Nick taught me. I chose the people I chatted with just right, asked some good questions, and lo and behold, I got great reactions. Was I monitoring at any point what I was saying? Shit, no. It was just being me. And is attractive enough for people to notice. And as a bonus to Fearless, to make sure that you have every chance of winning, you'll join a Q&A session with myself, Nick, and 2 of our coaches who started off as clients. So in our experts panel, you'll get the insider info on how they took the fast track from being insecure, lacking confidence, and struggling with the women to so fearless and so good that we actually allowed them to teach for us. And finally, you'll get trial access to Fearless Perspectives. This is where Nick interviews naturals and top players to tell you exactly how they use Fearless in their own lives. You'll hear from extroverts, introverts, hardcore players, a guy who just uses Fearless to get reliable girlfriends, and more. Once you learn Fearless, there's no more pressure. You can sit back and finally enjoy meeting, attracting, and having sex with the women you want. No more relying on circumstances, no more hoping that you'll end up sitting next to her on the bus or in the subway, no more waiting to get introduced to her, certainly no more need for liquid courage. If you want to use it to have sex with girl after girl, you'll be following in the footsteps of many of our clients who wanted to make the most of their single lives before they got married or after they're divorced. And if you want to use it on a specific girl you know, then you'll know exactly what to do to be the cool, confident, fearless guy who she'll fall all over. I'm more of a girlfriend guy myself, and I've used Fearless to land my last 2 actress girlfriends. So look, if you're still here, then I know you understand that Fearless is the only system for tuning into what that little voice inside of her wants and demonstrating that you've got that it factor, that you've got that irresistible edge. And up till now, the only way to learn Fearless was to take one of our high-priced coaching programs or be one of 20 incredibly lucky hand-selected guys who joined our Fearless Experience seminar. Now, here's the problem. 3 of those guys paid a lot of money to attend the event. One of them dropped $7,400, including his plane flight from Asia. So we had to agree to limit the number of copies we sold to protect their investment. It was the right thing to do for them. But as long as there are still copies left, you can join their ranks. Not for the thousands that everyone else has paid to learn these secrets, not even for the hundreds that, in all fairness to the guys who've paid, we should be charging. No, today, when you click that big orange button below, you'll invest only $97 in Fearless. And I have to warn you, this will sell out soon. So if you want to become Fearless at this low price and while it's still available, then click the big orange button below now because this will be coming down very soon. It just depends on how fast the 2,400 copies sell out. And because we believe so strongly in Fearless and we've put our real names and our faces on it, we do offer a 1-year, 100% guarantee that it'll work for you, or you can get your money back, no problem. You know by now that Fearless is the easiest way to tune into that voice in her head and make the woman you really want pursue you ravenously. And you know that once you're able to stop holding yourself back by following Fearless, you'll be done with information overload and you'll finally enjoy meeting women. You'll be through with struggling, making excuses and thinking that it's your fault, and you'll be fearless, confident, and at your best with the women who used to intimidate you. And if that isn't your exact experience, then Nick and I insist that you send us an email and ask for your money back. We just wouldn't feel right keeping it if Fearless didn't deliver everything that we've promised you here. So click the big orange button below. You'll be joining the guys who've used Fearless to blast past their own fears with absolutely no risk whatsoever at a price you'll probably never see again. That's because based on the testimonials, we're thinking of raising or even doubling the price if the copies are selling too fast. Most people who've seen it think we're charging way too little. So click on the big orange button now in order to get instant access before we raise the price or it sells out. Look, with everything you've learned in this presentation, you have 3 options at this point. You can do nothing and things will stay exactly as they are or get even worse. You'll still hold yourself back, you'll feel pressured around the girls you really want, and the little voice in her head will shut you out. Your fear will continue to reign on the parade of your life. Or you could try to figure this stuff out on your own. But hey, it took Nick a year of going out 4 nights a week and coaching hundreds of guys before he was able to pinpoint the secrets he reveals in Fearless. So if that's your plan, you might want to clear your calendar for a long time to come. You'll probably end up back here anyway, checking to see if the course is still available. And my guess is that it won't be for very long. Or you can just click the big orange button below, get on board, risking absolutely nothing and getting all the amazing sex with hot women that these secrets will give you. The very same secrets that others have paid thousands for. So click the big orange button below to get started now. If you've watched this far, it tells me that you're exactly the type of guy who's perfect for Fearless. You're the sort of guy who doesn't want to let his fear hold him back anymore. And that's why you need to click the big orange button below and join us now. You'll be brought right into the membership site where you can begin watching and downloading within moments and begin having sex and relationships with the girls who you really want. Fearless is going to change your life. It's going to give you the confidence to be on whenever you want. It'll give you the golden key to unlock that voice in her head with confidence. And Fearless will finally reveal what's been holding you back for so long and how to put it behind you. So click on the big orange button now because there are a very limited number of seats open at this low price and you're moments away from claiming your spot, vanquishing your fears, and watching your results with women who you want take off like a rocket. Click on the big orange button now, buy Fearless, and we will see you on the inside.